Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Bump Draft and Pray podcast. I am your host, Pedro Barbosa, and with me I have my very yawning Earl Goddard. Hello.
Hello, mate. See, mistakes out the way at the beginning.
Yeah, let's do it like this, not like last time that I had to pretend that we hadn't started yet. So yeah, let's go. Finally, we had a good racing weekend for Formula One. At least it was better than we were basically used to in the last 3 or 4 Grand Prix now, which were a bit, let's say, boring.
Not a bit. They were very boring.
Just trying to be politically correct.
Yeah, we don't need to be. But you can. I'll be the other side of the shovel. No, it's been a good weekend considering the last few races. This was a lot more enjoyable, I think.
And I'm going to be controversial here now. I just want every weekend to be a sprint weekend now. Because I don't know.
I don't know if the sprint weekend itself is a factor, or also Red Bull Ring always does provide good racing.
Yeah, but
maybe because it's such a short lap and that, but
that's one of the things.
I think they should have it wet they should start every race. They should wet the track and let it slowly dry because that's where you get the exciting racing.
Bernie sprinklers getting back onto the conversation.
Yeah, 100%. But it just proves that the sprint race and the GP, as soon as you're having clement weather, it provides good racing.
Yeah.
Because there is that, you suddenly get strategy of when's the right time to go to slicks. Who's going to take the risk? Who's going to take the gamble? And it's not just my car's faster than yours, so I'll wait until you pit and then overcut or undercut.
Yeah, but what I'm enjoying, I was talking about the sprint weekend more in the way that I do enjoy having something to look at on the Friday. Because I'll be completely honest, I'm in a part of my life where I don't have the patience for pre-practice, let's say. And I don't care all that much about the pre-practice results just because everyone is sandbagging.
The thing is, the way the sport has changed with the lack of testing in that, and them running their special programs through you basically know who's doing what, why they're doing it. And it's not like the old days of you need to be fast in every session and you go out and they put in lap times in and push it. They're just driving around, going through the program, completing the laps, nothing serious. Qualifying 3 fast laps, right? Let's go to a race. So yeah, the sprint does give you that element of time, but I think it would be a bit painful if it was every weekend.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe every other weekend.
Yeah, but I'm open to more sprint weekends. Like, let's say it like that. So yeah, and we had some news. We have a team interested in entering Formula One apart from Andretti. Which was, remember me, I already forgot. High Tech, yeah, High Tech. They have Formula 2 and Formula 3 teams as well, right?
Yep, based in Silverstone.
So yeah.
Who were the people that put Mazepin? They went to F2 because Nikita couldn't get a drive with one of the top teams. So
the Russian
money paid for them to go GP2. I'm just throwing that out there. Think of it what you will.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't get that memo. But yeah, might it be, I don't know, Mazepin GP trying to come to the
Could be. I mean, stranger things have happened. I think it's a bit too far off for 2026 for Mazepin to come back. I think he's.
Yeah, you're right. Stranger things have happened. Like some guy which last name is Stroll said in an interview a week ago that he should have been knighted for what he has done to Aston. So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right when you think you're all right with what he's doing in Formula One, he throws one of those. Yeah, it was.
Well, let's
cringe.
say we've learned of recent weeks that billionaires live in a different world of what they think is right and wrong and normal.
Don't. I have 100 jokes in my head right now, which are not appropriate for the podcast.
No, but I think and that's not in a derogatory term in any way. It is the fact that when you have that many zeros, you think a little bit different to how the real world is.
Yeah.
I think we maybe leave it at that.
Yeah, let's leave it at that. I'm trying not to.
Sir Lawrence.
Lawrence, yeah. So yeah. In other news, we had the information that, or the confirmation that the AlphaTauri team is at least partially going to go to the UK. I think Red Bull is already building a separate building for the AlphaTauri team in Milton Keynes. I think I've heard something about that, or there are plans or already going up.
Junior team.
Yeah, the junior team. It's going back to being a junior team and using like 100% of what they can from the main team, and that they are soon to be announcing a sponsor outside of Red Bull, and the team is going to change name for next year. So someone was suggesting it will be Alpha with a PHA Romeo. So to join the two names, although we've heard that Alfa Romeo is going to try at least to sponsor Haas. So yeah, and that they are at least thinking about giving the option for people that are working right now in Faenza in Italy to go to the UK or not. Although we were just talking about this before the podcast, and it's a bit confusing how that would work. I don't know. Teams split between Italy and the UK normally it's not been very good historic wise. Ferrari. No. Sorry, something came up. I don't know. so I don't know. It might be some like I don't know a middle term for now and then go to the UK. Makes kind of sense to money wise at least.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So yeah, we'll have a new name for sure in for next year. Apart from what's going to be called the Sauber team, we're still not sure if it's going Sauber, if it's going to Audi, what it's going to. And we just had news today. This was not before the weekend, but I don't know if you noticed, but we have the 2024 calendar.
Yep.
Which I don't know at the top of my head, but I can actually look for it. which is good podcasting. Not have that here, but I can try and get it. So I'm not going to put it on the screen just because it takes so much time. So it's going to start in Bahrain, then Saudi Arabia, Australia, Japan in round 4. So Japan is going from basically towards the end of the season to the start of the season. I don't think we ever had Japan this early. April. Start of April.
No, I don't think so.
Then we're going to try again and go to China. Let's see how much time that stays on the calendar. Then Miami, Imola, Monaco, Montreal, Canada, Spain, so Barcelona, Spielberg, which they announced this weekend that they extended the contract until 2030, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So we're going to have the awesome Spielberg or Red Bull Ring track until 2030. Then Silverstone, Hungary, Spa, Zandvoort, Monza, Baku in September. Then Singapore, then Austin, Mexico, Interlagos, Las Vegas, Lusail, and Yas Marina, so Abu Dhabi. So it's basically the same tracks as this year, but just
they're not doing their back and forth between Europe and America as much as they've done this year, where it was jumping massive distances again, wasn't it?
yeah, we'll have to wait until round 7 for the first European Grand Prix. So, yeah, that
different.
A bit different. And then, so we say Europe, then America again, then Europe, kind of Europe, Asia, America, Mexico, so American, yeah. So yeah, we're going to go basically Middle East, then kind of Australia, and then Asia, America, Europe, America, then Europe. So the Europe part is going to be in the middle, and then the rest of the world is going to be in the start and the end. Just Canada is in the middle of that. So yeah, it makes more sense.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like a better one than this year.
Yeah, sounds a lot better. I still don't get Canada in between Monaco and Spain, but
tradition.
Yeah, what we have to remember is that this must not have been easy to arrange. For example, Japan in April. I think the weather has something to do with what it used to be.
Yeah.
So more towards the end of the year, and there's some Grand Prix that are in that part of the year just because it makes sense for that. I think Canada is one of them, isn't it? That they have a festival or something like that. They have festivals there. I'm not sure as well. I've heard something like that. So yeah. So same tracks, different parts of the year that they're going to take place in. And just before the weekend, we had another news. The last part of news was that McLaren will have their first part of their major upgrade, but just on Lando Norris' car. And I've just heard today the Beyond the Grid podcast of Lando, that they released today, and apparently it was not all of the upgrades that were on that car in Austria.
Okay.
And they're going to have for Silverstone next weekend in both cars. So all of the upgrades. So let's start with McLaren probably. They had a very good weekend, mainly in Lando's car, but Piastri was not that off the pace in qualifying it, at least.
No, he was still there.
I mean, the
Yeah,
race, main Grand Prix didn't go very well for him. That turn 3
No.
was
yeah, unlucky.
so
no, I think they did have a solid weekend.
yeah, definitely. It's they always go good there in Austria, and Norris particular always has gone very good in there. We all remember those last 2 laps from 2021.
One, yeah.
Where he had to make up time to Lewis so that he would take advantage of the 5 seconds penalty, if I'm not
That
mistaken.
is correct.
I think it was. Okay. And it was not for track limits, so that
No,
will
it
be
wasn't.
that you'll hear talks about track limits a lot on this podcast. Uh, so yeah, they've always gone very well there, but they, like I said, mainly in Norris car. I mean, he qualified P4 for the main Grand Prix and third for the sprint shootout. No, the sprint shootout is qualifying for the sprint. This no, just sprint qualifying. It's more than good. Sprint shootout is a crap name.
Yeah, it's an American name.
Yeah, get rid of it. So yeah, about qualifying. So I think the main talking point we have here, it's going to be Russell and Perez mainly.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from all of the, let's get that out of the way. Let's talk about track limits. What's the problem with white lines for track limits?
Well, there isn't a problem. There is. So the excuse all the drivers are giving us to see something that size coming out of a corner at speed is difficult. The slightest miscalculation, slightest slide, and you run wide. I think the crux of it is they've let them get away with it for too many years now. That when they actually enforce it, they all get upset.
Yeah, I asked to you first.
The thing is, it's a simple one because there's no grey area. There's 2 white lines on the track. If all 4 wheels go over them, time deleted if it's qualifying, or it's a track cut. It's a simple thing. So drivers can, because driving in the sim, if there's an exploit on a corner, you'll take it. And if you can cut the chicane and go all 4 wheels across the white line, Watkins Glen, perfect example. That's it. You will do it every lap. But if you get a track cut, you won't do it. You will drive within the lines, and they need to stay firm and keep this up at every track. The teams will soon start saying to the drivers, "Stop it."
Yeah, so far it's still track and corner specific. So they do that for at least when you got a corner that you gain time doing that, so where there is an exploit.
Yeah,
so that's what they've done in T9 and 10. And yeah, I have my only experience of Red Bull Ring is in the sim. I know it's not real life, but I have Earl to confirm or tell me I'm a knobhead for saying this. But yeah, you gain loads of time there if you go off the white lines. because it's you carry so much more speed in both corners. So if in T9 you get, even if you get caught off guard and you go a little bit, you can attack the T9 much harder, and then you open up, it's like a different corner for the last corner, so for T10. And if you're allowed to go over the line, it's like it might be in. It depends on the cars. I haven't gone there in the Formula One car, but even in GT3s, you can gain like 2/10 almost easily just by going like 10 centimeters off.
Yeah, it makes a difference. And I mean, you can see what used to happen at T1 until they put that massive sausage curb in to stop it, because again, carry 2k, 3k more speed mid corner onto that straight is going to equate to a massive difference at the end of the straight. So I think they just need to. There's too much grey area with the FIA at the moment in all sorts of regulations this last couple of years. They just need to. They're not there to be exciting. Yeah, they're not there to be exciting and make friends with. It's just follow the rules. Simple.
Yeah. I do agree with that, and I mean, it's the only other part is that they had way too much to analyze, because they have to analyze case by case, because you might go off track just because like you were pushed off, or if I mean,
it's not a deliberate off track.
Yeah, it can not be deliberate, so they have to basically see case by case, and they had way too much. They have to find a way to filter all of that, because then that will create some confusion for the stewards, even not just for drivers and stuff. So yeah.
And on this tracker, I think one thing that should be banned is, I don't think the drivers should be allowed to be going, oh, Hamilton's gone off. Oh, Hamilton's gone off again. Oh, Hamilton's gone off again. You know, there's stewards there, there's people that are doing the job. I don't think it brings, and I get why the drivers are doing it, because it's to gain an advantage, and it's 5 seconds makes a difference if you're racing the guy in front and he keeps going off track. But it's not up to the drivers to start commentating on the race from the car. I don't think it should be allowed, or not. Or it should definitely shouldn't be broadcast.
No, that's the first part. It shouldn't be broadcasted. And the second part is, we've talked about this before. They do have the if they don't, they are sleeping, but they must have the technology to have an automated system, at least to tell them there was a track cut now
for them to then look at.
And for them to look at. They what I think they should do is not use that system to give penalties or warnings automatically, because we know that might not work perfectly. I mean, although it works on iRacing, so yeah, it should work in real life. But I can see why they don't want to do that, but they 100% should use that technology to be the way that they know that there was an infraction on those corners. So yeah, please do it. We're almost there. We're almost there. Please just go the extra mile a little bit. It just need a little bit more, and it will be not perfect, because nothing is perfect, but it will be
a hell of a lot better.
Yeah, I just read your T-shirt. Sorry, good podcasting. So yeah, and the driver that he was caught sleeping, Paris, in Q2 because he was out in Q2 again. That's the fourth time in Q2, fourth time in a row.
There's
I mean,
another good stat. It's the first time since Coulthard in 2008 that both Red Bulls haven't been in Q3 in 4 consecutive races. Yeah,
I mean, 4 track cuts with the best car on the grid. I mean,
it's like he doesn't want to drive that car next year or the back end of this year.
I mean, did you see that interview that Christian Horner gave at the end of the qualifying?
Yeah.
I mean, that man looks like he's trying really hard.
To be fair, he defended him.
Yeah.
As best he can, but at the same time of going, I'm sort of defending the indefensible. You know?
He did say that he's going to drive until the end of the year. They're not going to get rid of him.
Yeah, but they said they weren't going to get rid of Albon.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. F1 word is as good as the paper is written on. Because their contracts don't mean anything.
Sorry, I just had a moment here because I have a bottle of water that I don't remember putting it here, which is weird. Sorry.
Yeah.
Again, good podcasting. We're tired. Please.
It's been a long week.
Long week, long day. So yeah, I don't know.
I see there's also, to carry on the Red Bull theme and seats, they're saying Liam Lawson's looking like the favourite to take over from De Vries if he gets binned in the next few races, which will be timely to see. Give him half a season in an AlphaTauri and then put him up into the big team the following year if he proves himself.
Yeah, I can see that, and I was in that interview. I'm still talking about that interview. I was surprised at how quick Christian Horner pointed out that Ricardo was going to be in the car shortly and available. I was surprised at how
but just because he's available,
he went there.
Doesn't mean they want him because he's slow.
Oh,
let's be honest. Let's be honest. I think Danny Rick is.
No, he's not going to drive another F1 car.
He's or not in a race.
Yeah, in the race. He's not going to be a Grand Prix driver again. I don't think so. I don't think so. But I was surprised at how quick he went there. Let's say that. So at least they're considering. At least they're considering getting rid of Paris. I think so.
I think they have to. I know Max is dominating. Like it's not been seen for many a year, but end of the day, they want 1-2s. They want what Mercedes were doing in the 2000s, where it was 1-2, 1-2. They wanted to destroy, demolish everyone, and having one car out front, 4 million miles away, just doing his own thing like a Sunday drive, and the other car struggling to get in the top 10. It doesn't look good for the brand.
And Albon with a Williams is on Q3 again.
Yeah. Oh, have you seen the new Williams livery for Silverstone?
Oh, that's
very nice. Very nice.
At least Williams is doing something nice. And it's the 800th Grand Prix for Williams, so
just to be fair, they're not. They're putting a good performance here. Albon's driving phenomenally this year. He's consistently putting that car probably where it shouldn't be. Ironically, racing George Russell in the Williams, and not in the Williams, in Mercedes. Having left the Williams to go to the all-dominating Mercedes, so yeah, no, I think Williams can be quite happy with what they're doing.
Yeah,
considering we know that they're basically a glorified GP2 car that's quick in a straight line. But
And I just noticed something. Stroll outqualified Alonso. I mean,
yeah, Alonso didn't have his best weekend, but then
no.
also qualifying was a bit up and down, wasn't it? I think
Yeah.
Stroll. We know when Stroll's on, I say on fire, tongue in cheek, but he's a quick driver when it all comes together, and he's got a bit of confidence. He's proven before leading a race in the wet at Turkey. He can drive. He's just not consistent enough.
Yeah, and I don't know if you noticed. I noticed this weekend, he's still in pain. You can still see him doing this with his hands on the straights, trying to get feeling on the hands. So this goes back to his crash. He had a bike crash before the season began. Missed the preseason testing, and yeah, he's still not 100% physically.
Well,
I'd
yeah,
say.
he's not having time to rest, is he? If he's not racing, he's doing fitness of some degree. So I think that will niggle for a while. That will.
Yeah, it might do it until the end of the season. It might. I think it needs the summer break. Is there a summer break?
So, well, don't know. They're probably having a summer break race now. Just
Yeah, because it's
they have
actually
4 weeks, don't they? They have to shut down.
yeah, they have, but that's a factory. So we have July, we have 3 more races in July.
I think it's after that we've got
Yeah,
4 races, and then
we have
it's
not even a
3 more.
month. Yeah, not even a month from
So
Spa
August it will
to
be the
Zandvoort. Yeah, yeah. Let's see if we can at least rest of it in that time, so that he can come back better. Because that might be at least distracting. Like, let's say if you're not getting feeling in your hands while you're driving, and you're battling that. I know that if I have I'm sitting in my rig. If my seat is not perfectly aligned with my wheel, I just go crazy and I cannot concentrate on my racing. I just can't concentrate. That's the the main thing that helped me in my sim racing was building a proper rig. Um, that helped me massively just because I didn't have anything else to distract me. It was just race. So if you're constantly not getting feeling in your hands, I mean it must be in a race situation. It must be crazy. Just try and navigate that. So
ask Kubica
yeah,
or Kubica. He's
uh,
barely got a second hand, doesn't he?
yeah, completely different driver. So yeah, so unsurprisingly, we had Max for qualifying. Sorry, for the Grand Prix in pole position, and he got pole position again for the sprint shootout, which Perez was able to go to. What's it called? SQ3. I see it still says Q3 in the F1. Oh,
Yeah.
drop the shootout thing. And I don't know if it's the first time. How long has it been since we had 2 Haas in a Q3 in a qualifying session, even if it is a sprint shootout. We had Hulkenberg in P4 and Magnussen in P10. Hulkenberg would not start um, in P4 because he had a penalty, if I'm not mistaken. It was impeding.
Mm-hmm.
Think so. And Leclerc as well.
Yep.
Had a penalty. So for the sprint, we had Verstappen, Perez, Norris, Hulkenberg. No, Hulkenberg was started P4. It was for the Grand Prix that he had the
This
penalty.
Grand Prix. Yeah.
Yeah. Then Sainz, Alonso, Stroll, Ocon, Leclerc, and Magnussen to start the sprint. So we were right to the sprint, and it was raining. There's not another word for it.
Mm-hmm.
It was raining. Yeah, and let's talk about the incident at the start. So Perez started much better than Max, and he actually passed him into T1, and then Max was trying to come back to Max in the straight, which it's T2 as well. I don't know why it is T2. It's a non-corner, but T2. And Perez went to the right side where Max was, and Max actually went like 100 meters on the grass while still having the throttle pinned in the
Yeah.
rain in the grass. So massive balls that it has. How did you see that move? Let's say.
Well, I think Sergio's gone to cover him and block the move, and he claimed he didn't see Max and he was just taking his line. But I think he was trying to prove a point of, after all the conversation, it's like, I can race you wheel to wheel. And whether he pushed him off, I mean,
I don't think there's a question that he pushed him off. Is it if it was deliberate? And you can see on the onboard him looking on the.
yeah, I think saying I didn't know he was there, I think, is BS.
Yeah. It's that.
And he's playing with fire, because if he takes Max out, he's out of that car,
Oh,
because he's not doing anything to warrant being there. And let's be honest, he's not faster than it. One weekend so far this year, he was faster than Max on legit pace at the start of the year. He's not faster than Max now.
Oh.
There's very few people out there that can match Max at the minute. And that pains me to say, because I'm not the biggest Verstappen fan, but Sergio trying to think that he can go toe to toe with him, it's just going to end in tears. And they're not going to be Max's.
Yeah, and he actually right after got a little bit of a taste of what that was like, because Max just dive bombed into T3 and
Pushed
basically
him off.
pushed him off. I've heard it being called a block pass. I don't think it was a block pass. I think it was a proper shove. I do think that Max. I don't know if he planned on giving the space to Sergio. I don't. I think he didn't care to leave space for Sergio, but he got a little bit of understeer, let's say, because they then couldn't get out of the corner, and that actually ruined Norris' race
Oh yeah, massively.
massively, because then they didn't go, and Lando got
I think you got
anti-stall.
anti-stall, didn't you?
Yeah, anti-stall, and was basically stopped in the
See ya.
stopped in the middle of the racetrack and lost like 6 positions in one corner just because of that. And he was actually in the place to take advantage of that. I do think that if they hadn't if they hadn't slowed down that much, and he didn't have um, the the anti-stall, I think he could have tried and sent it down the inside at D4 because he had good traction out of that corner all weekend.
Mm.
And he had
Yeah,
actually, it was nerve wracking as a Lando fan. It was nerve wracking because he used a different line than everyone else. No one was using his line, and he was constantly going wide to that corner to get more traction and gain top speed on the next straight. And no one's
yeah,
doing that. Although I understood why he was doing that, I mean, it was nerve wracking all the same. So
yeah.
yeah, that ruined his race. And then we proceeded to having um, a drying race, okay? And then we got to a point where we got different. Um, oh, one thing that I forgot: Mr. Hulkenberg was P2 for a long time in the sprint.
Yeah, he did. He had a good start, and the house seems to like that enters part of the window, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
Because as soon as it started to dry slightly and temp came up, he was dispatched.
yeah. I do think that my opinion is that the Haas is good at switching on tires, but then is very bad at keeping tires
Yeah,
uh, in a reasonable pace because they just went off the cliff. And when he had the tires, he actually was keeping Sergio Perez behind. So he he was in P2 for what, 5, 6 laps? So for a
yeah, I
Haas to
think
be
so.
in
Yeah,
front of a Red Bull, I mean, that's mega,
on
mega
pure
race.
pace.
Yeah, yeah. And he was actually one of the first ones to pit for softs. And I thought that they were crazy because it's a sprint race and only 24 laps, and it was not even 10 laps to the end. It was like 6 laps to the end. And it turned out that I'm a massive, uh, I was
Idiot.
massively, yeah, idiot. Uh, because apart from Fernando Alonso up, Uh, everyone then that was on Nitters then got passed by Hulkenberg, Ocon. No, Ocon stopped in the Inters. They finished in the Inters, just ahead of George Russell. I think George
Mm.
was the one that gained the
He
most.
was the first. I think he was the first to swap.
Yeah,
Was it him and
him and
him and
Hulk.
Hulk?
Yeah, yeah, and they were the ones that were able to take advantage of that. Um, so yeah, very good drive for them and good strategy call for them. Carlos Sainz was quick all weekend, let's say. And unlike Leclerc, which
The
for
Ferrari,
this, sorry, sir,
Ferraris were quick, weren't they? They were quick.
they
Leclerc,
had a massive upgrade as well. Forgot they had a
yeah,
massive
he was
front wing upgrade.
see 400s off Verstappen in quali.
Yeah,
So
for Grand Prix. Yeah,
for the Grand Prix, yeah. But just then it all kind of fell apart.
not in the sprint. Carlos
No, in
Sainz,
the race.
Carlos Sainz actually got P3 in the sprint, and Leclerc got P2 in the Grand Prix. So it was a good weekend for Ferrari, let's say. And a good sprint for Mr. Lance Stroll, which he was keeping Fernando Alonso behind. Alonso was actually trying
Yeah.
to get past him. They had a battle and was able to have his OP teammate.
OP moment.
Yeah, so it was good. It was actually an entertaining uh, race, like the one we're talking talk now, which is the Grand Prix itself. So for the Grand Prix, we had Verstappen, then Leclerc in P2, and Sainz in P3. Um, and then Lando Norris, Lewis Hamilton, Lance Stroll, Fernando Alonso, Hulkenberg. Gasly and Mr. OP Albon in P10. Um, both Magnussen and De Vries started in the pit lane because they had to change some stuff in the car. And they were required to start from the pits. So yeah, that's basically it. And then the race. I now have a blank. So Max, it was like he has been all year in just another league. Um, I mean, you can throw him what strategy you might want to throw at him, and it will make it work. Because we had a safety car because of it was Tsunoda on no,
Yeah,
not Tsunoda.
Yuki ran off.
That was a virtual safety car, or no, that was a safety car on the start, right?
Yeah.
Tsunoda, yeah. Then the virtual safety car, which was the one that he didn't pit and everyone else pitted, was because of no, not Magnussen. It was Hulkenberg, which he had a Carlos Sainz moment. It was not on the same corner, but his Ferrari engine just decided it didn't want to work anymore,
Mm.
and was fire actually. So everyone pitted and Max didn't, and even though it didn't pit, it was able not only to win the race but have a pit stop advantage in the end to get some soft tires and get fastest lap. Fast lap.
Yeah, that was a bit. That's flexing. That's all that is. Fair
Flexing,
play. To,
flexing, and the amount of trust that he put in his team to basically say to them, yeah, I know you're not going to mess this up, and you make a perfect pit stop because it was not that much time. He got in front. He got back to the
he had
track
four. He
3 seconds,
had 4 seconds today. 3 or 4 seconds. Yeah.
seconds. Yeah, so any little thing that might have happened on that pit stop, and he would have lost the lead. So
But
and
it's a
then
thing of confidence when it's all going right. Things like that you think of and you don't question them because nothing bad is going to happen.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Whereas if you're Hamilton at the minute and they said, right, pit for fight, you'd be like, oh, no, no, no.
Yeah.
Too much to go wrong.
And talking about Hamilton, let's talk about track limits again.
Ugh.
Because he was actually the first one to get a 5 second time penalty, I think, for track limits. And Lando was like third lap was like saying he's going off track in the last corner for every lap so far.
Yeah, I think Lando's been asked about that and he said, I will keep saying because on one lap he went off 5 times in one lap. It's like there's nearly 10 seconds worth of penalties straight away at one lap. So, and yes, he needs to be held accountable for him, but I still don't agree with the other drivers sitting there saying he's gone off, and again, turn two, turn two. Yeah.
And that's culminated on Hamilton talking about track limits all race, and Toto having to come to the radio basically saying, yeah, we know the car is bad, just drive it, please. I mean, yeah. If
Yeah,
Toto has to come to the radio and tell it to shut up, basically.
but then also they got contract negotiations going on, so how much of that is playing to the conversations?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. It's not a very good look, let's say. So yeah, he was one of the ones that was having problems with track limits. Um, Actually, the first
Oh,
five
Ocon
position.
must have been up there
Oh,
because Ocon didn't he get 30 seconds or something where
I think Ocon is going to the Silverstone on his car off road. Because if they continue to look at track limits, I think he would get track limits until the end of the year. It was there was a
it
meme
all over
of his
the
track, the
place. Yeah.
different track layout for Ocon, just for Ocon, because he was going off track everywhere. I don't know. It's not the first time that this happens to Esteban. He he's had some when he has a off weekend. I mean,
He has
it's
an off weekend.
proper proper off weekend. Was it with the was in Melbourne? Where was it where he couldn't go to the pits with the proper speed?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't get it. When he has an off weekend, it's really an off weekend, and this was a very off weekend. Um, so yeah, we were talking about this as well. We were talking about Sergio, but let's talk again. I don't think it's when you see what Max can do in that car, for Sergio not be able to get
Finish
it
P2.
to, because he actually was able to. He was
I think
in
he
top
passed
10 while
12
like
people. I think he
yeah.
passed 12 people. So, I mean, in any other circumstances, he had a good race. But in that car, he should be. He really shouldn't be racing anyone. He should be trying to keep up with Max, would be about all he should be doing.
Yeah, yeah, and he actually got past quite a few people in the beginning of the race. He was able to get past. I was like, I was actually, let's say, pumped up about his race because he actually got past. It was P10, I don't know, in lap 4 or 5 or something like that. He made up many places on that initial part of the race, but then, I mean, it just was nowhere from there. It just he got up and up the field. He had the not the same strategy as Verstappen because he actually was one of the few drivers that changed the medium tires to another set of mediums, so he had to stop again. Opened up the strategy for everyone, and Max went from mediums to hards, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, uh, I think I'm not crazy in saying that he should do better.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's continue because we're just mashing on on Paris today. We've been doing that for quite a few Grand Prix right now.
Well, he's earning it, so
Yeah, and in P4 was our boy Mr. Lando Norris, which, like we said, had a good weekend. Likes track. The car seems to be better. Seems to be a lot better every aspect. I think.
yeah,
Seems
it's
to be
good.
more stable, more traction. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing some improvements in that car. And then in P5, Mr. Fernando Alonso in the Essen. Uh, I d- I do think that Fernando was on an off weekend, or as much as an off weekend he can have, because he's Fernando Alonso. So, but does this show that
I think that's
finally
also
the
Ferrari have improved.
yeah
Ferrari, Mercedes have improved a bit more, and
Mercedes?
well, they're a bit better, aren't they?
Were they?
I don't know. No, they think
Because they
probably it was
finished
more Ferrari.
behind. They got P8 and P10 in the sprint, Mercedes, and they got P7 and P8 in the race. So both of the Mercedes were behind Fernando Alonso in both races.
So they
So
didn't then.
so they did that.
It's probably more the fact of Ferrari being a bit faster this weekend.
Yeah, I do think so. I do think so. Ferrari had a good weekend, and Carlos didn't have a good Grand Prix. I mean, he was going fast and he was pushing Leclerc, and I was asking him to let him go and try and get after Max, because he was actually, I think he was faster in that beginning of the race, but from the point that he had the penalty for off tracks, yeah, off tracks,
Yeah.
his race kind of went backwards for a bit, and then he came back and was able to get this six. So yeah, he seems to like the track, but the Grand Prix was not his best execution of
No,
a race. Definitely.
no, he sort of swapped favours this week, and Leclerc had the better effort, and he sort of did a Leclerc and lost the plot a bit.
Yeah. And then behind them, both Mercedes, which you thought they did amazing. So
Thought they did better than that. Yeah,
yeah, but the
shows
just
how bad the
your
racing's been.
memory.
It's been messing with my mind. I'm tired. It's okay.
No, it's okay. It might have just been because they were in a nowhere. So apart from George putting those dry tires in the and doing a good recovery, and Lewis having that moment, and even Toto coming to talk with him, I don't think that his I think they were nowhere to be seen, Mercedes, basically. So no fights, no anything. So that might be more of a reason why it isn't in your mind, let's say, because it wasn't really. I didn't really think about Mercedes apart from those two aspects the entire
Mm.
weekend. They were on an off weekend, all of the team. Um, so yeah, then Lance Stroll, and then P10, Mr. Pierre Gasly. Just being able to not let Mr. Alex Albon get a point. That was unfortunate. And Albon in P11 was the last car not to be lapped by Verstappen.
Big
So yeah,
Max.
Max. Also to note, Breeze. I mean, he's the other one, another Sergio Perez. I mean, he
But
has
there's
had his ultimatum. He has to do
before
something.
this last three races.
Yeah,
But
so that's still
like,
angry. Something like that.
and unless he wins a race, I can't see how he's staying in that car. And I'm
Yeah.
being genuinely honest about that. He needs to straight out get a podium or something on pure pace alone. Otherwise, there's no way he's in that car when we come back from summer break.
Oh, I think it's a done deal. To be honest.
Yeah.
I think they are already preparing Lawson to be in that car. So yeah.
And judging from what I've seen of Lawson at Kota last year, when he was in the Red Bull on Friday, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, it seems to go well
But
everywhere
then
he races. So
Friday as a rookie and all that versus Friday as a full Grand Prix driver with the pressure of a team saying, right, you've got to be fast and don't crash. Big difference.
yeah, but if it's to do that job that Riz is doing, who would you rather have that there? A guy that you've basically put under contract, that was nowhere in the Red Bull family, or a rookie, a Red Bull Academy guy that you want to maybe try and nurture?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. If when De Vries goes, I think Lawson is the perfect candidate. 100%.
Yeah. So yeah, that was our Austrian GP. So in the end, we had Max Verstappen as a winner, then Charles Leclerc in P2, Perez in P3, Norris in P4, Alonso P5, Sainz P6, Russell P7, Hamilton P8, Stroll P9, and Gasly in P10. So we had both Red Bulls, both Ferraris, both Mercedes, both Astons, a McLaren, and a Alpine on the top 10 getting points. And that puts us with Max Verstappen in P1 in championship. Nobody saw that
Strange that.
coming. Yeah, nobody saw that coming. Then Perez, Alonso, Hamilton, Sainz, and Leclerc. Sainz is still ahead of Leclerc in championship. Then Russell with the same points as Leclerc, Stroll, Ocon, and Norris in P10. So yeah, that's our P10 in the championships. In the teams standings, we have uh, again surprisingly we had Red Bull in P1, with basically double the points or more than double the points from Mercedes, then Aston, Ferrari, Alpine, McLaren, Haas, Alfa Romeo, Mercedes, and Alfa Tauri in in the last place. So yeah, that was our Austrian Grand Prix. We have Silverstone. Are you going to go there this year?
Yeah, I will be there on Saturday, and then we'll see how it is before whether deciding going on Sunday or not. Just because you know what it's like with little people and taking them to big events like that. We'll see how we go on.
Oh, I took my boy to Paul Pierre hill climb, and yeah, he was done after 30 minutes. He didn't want to be there anymore. So
We we did it last year, and she was fine for the Saturday because it's a little bit less chaotic. But the Sunday when we tried that, it's busy both days, but Sunday's just a whole different level of yeah. So we'll see.
just tell her that he will meet Lando at the end of the race.
Oh no, she knows me. She's going looking for Lando. She's going looking for Lando. She's got her T-shirt ready. She's all
Ah,
good.
make a sign. Lando, please say hi.
No, we see. It's going to be interesting. I'm quite intrigued to see what's happening with all this Brad Pitt business and the
Yeah, they're
filming.
filming that. And I've seen a picture of his pit
Yeah,
spot
he's got his
with,
own garage and everything.
yeah. They still don't know how that's going to happen, but they're going to film with the drivers, I think.
There's a lot of speculation of what they're going to be doing, and there's some talk that he'll be on track at the same time as the F1 cars, and there's other talk saying he isn't going to be on track at the same. So that's why it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out and how much of an effect it actually has on the running of the weekend. Because let's be honest, he's obviously going to do more of these events because they're not going to have the whole film based around one event at Silverstone.
Oh no, definitely.
So yeah, definitely seems that with the likes of Hollywood is really taking to F1 at the moment with Deadpool and his mates buying part, investing in
Oh, we
Alpine.
didn't talk about that. We have the Deadpool Grand Prix. No.
Yeah. So
It's
and there's some big boys in there that don't just give money away. So there's obviously something, whether it's the increased growth of F1 in America has got them all thinking, I need to be part of this. Because let's be honest, that aspect of F1 is very glamorous.
Yeah, and with that deal, it was the three movie stars that um, were actually involved in the acquisition of 25%. It was a fund, a trust fund that bought that part. In which Ryan Reynolds, Mr. Deadpool, Rob something, McElhenney, yeah, is his partner that they bought Wrexham FC, and also Michael B. Jordan, Mr. Creed himself, which he has bought a football club there in the UK, I think, as well.
I know.
So it's not his first deal in, let's say, more of a European sports. Because F1, although it's more and
It's a
more global, it's still
it's
an
a European.
European kind of thing, sport kind of thing. So yeah, let's see what's that they're saying that they are going to do a little bit more of, let's say, social media and all that stuff. I've heard them talking about maybe something in the vein of Wrexham. What's it called? I've seen every episode. It's Welcome to Wrexham, or
Yeah, we're about them buying.
yeah, but
I think.
I don't think that's going to happen just because of the right to survive.
Yeah, I don't think
Happen.
they'll do it. But let's be honest, old Ryan Reynolds, the one thing he's very good at is the social marketing of anything. And it just has to be there's a toothbrush, and he will have a good, funny way at the right time to drop it and make that toothbrush famous.
Yeah.
So if all it is taking Alpine's social media accounts from 2 million subscribers to 20 million, so be it. You know, which is I think what they do. He's just gonna social media the hell out of Alpine and make them cool.
Do you think that it's a sign of
What's gonna
Renault?
happen in the future?
Yeah, Renault trying to or
Get out.
thinking about getting out. Maybe
Oh
like
yeah, 100%. This is what always happens with the teams, isn't they? They sell a little bit, and then next thing, but we're not going to give it all up, and then a year later they're gone.
yeah. So potentially one more team changing names.
But then yeah, I can also see maybe not the same style as these guys have done it, because not every team's going to be bought by multi-millionaire movie stars. But you see it over in NASCAR. Michael Jordan's got a team. It's becoming more of a business venture to be involved in motorsport, because there is a lot more money in it now than there was previously. So yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting couple of years, especially where Formula One's involved.
Yeah, let's see where that goes. So F1, at least name-wise, will be very different. Not that we're saying that Alpine is not going to be there, the brand, but at least we have a few other teams that are going to change names. So let's see what's going to happen. If nothing else, it's interesting to an interesting perspective.
It's good. I suppose it's good and bad in equal measures. It's bringing new fans, much like Drive to Survive. It's bringing new people to the sport who never really bothered with it before and weren't interested. But then the downside to that is it's bringing a different fan base, a lot more of a a football style fan where we're Red Bull, so everybody else and booing and being aggressive towards other teams, supporters wearing a Williams shirt. And there are obviously incidents of that, I think it was last year, with a group of Verstappen supporters being aggressive towards females in a couple of the races. So I think as Drive to Survive has made the sport a lot more popular with people who wouldn't normally follow it, I think it's also bringing in a different element of fan that don't understand. Yeah, we say we don't like Red Bull, but we don't try to fight them because someone's wearing a Red Bull t-shirt.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, we don't really. I mean, I have always had a very particular way of following F1. I never supported anyone. I just liked F1 as a sport. But I do think that most, at least the old school fans, even if they supported a team, I think they followed the sport, and then they followed the team. Let's put it like that. So yeah, we really don't want that kind of behavior in our sport, let's say. And I include and I welcome everyone to the sport, but just be respectful. I don't think it has those kind of behaviors have any place in any sport, but please don't bring that mentality to sport, which I love so much. Is motor racing, and in particular F1 that we're talking. So yeah. Silverstone next. You're going to be there. I'm actually going to be on holiday this weekend, so I'm not really sure how if I'm even going to be able to watch the Grand Prix live, but I'll watch it recorded, if nothing else. So yeah, Silverstone is always good. You're kind of home track. Can you see it from your window? Almost.
I can see Mercedes from my window.
Oh, you can see Mercedes. Yeah.
No, it's 10 miles.
It's 10 miles. Yeah. Silverstone is a little bit further.
10 miles up the road, so not far.
Not far.
Mercedes about a mile. I'll try and take a picture of the Mercedes sign for you on my way to work.
Oh, okay. I almost thought that you had a Mercedes sign on your t-shirt there because you were showing it. So yeah.
No, it's the one thing I don't have any Mercedes kit.
So yeah, let's enjoy the British Grand Prix. It's always a good place for F1 cars to go around. Let's see if we see how many times we see Brad Pitt in the broadcast, and if we can see you anywhere else in the grandstands or wherever you're going to be. I'll try and look for your face in there. Like that. So yeah. Thank you everyone. Thank you everyone for being here with us or watching. If you like to contact us, we have Pump Draft Spray in every social media app. pdappodcast@gmail.com is our email if you want to send anything. I've been your host, Pedro Barbosa. With me, I have had my good friend, Mr. Earl Goddard.
Cheers, guys.
Bye. Bump Draft and Pray is an independent podcast, and the music was by Letting Punks Know.